to, this was many years ago initially, sort of 12, 13 plus years ago, kind of when I first moved to LA. You know, I was always sort of a fan of this general chapter of Hollywood history, and I thought I kind of understood it, but I started sort of, you know, having to read or stumble upon certain things that I would read about the period that just kind of shocked me. Things like, you know, I knew a little bit about the transition from silent to sound. What I didn't know until this little bit of reading I started doing kind of by happenstance was how many, sort of what kind of a state of suicides, literally suicides, is sort of kind of
She terrified me, honestly. When I went on the page, I was like, I'm not terrified of the pain that I'm not, you know, those are the all like the activate things. I was like, oh wow, she's got this awful thing with her dad and this, you know, like all that stuff that you like really want to dig into. I was terrified because I was like, I don't know if I can pull this off. I don't know if I'm going to mess up this whole movie, because tonally, how does me projectile vomiting on a crowd of people sit right next to one of the most stunningly written scenes I've ever read between Eleanor and Jack, played by Jean and Brad. You know, I was like, I don't know if I can do that and fight a rattlesnake and do that. And I used to be really good at crying on cue when I was on Neighbours because it was a soap I did for 3 years. But what if I can't cry on cue that well anymore? You know, so there's a lot of things that terrified me about Nellie. But more than anything, I wanted to be a part of this movie. You know, obviously, I was already a huge fan of Damien, so obviously was gagging at whatever things I could hear. He's going, oh, you might be doing that, whatever. But this script felt so different from everything else. It felt like it was going to be a piece of cinema history that I wanted to be a part of. That's what really drew me to it.
And who? What is it like?
And, you know, your eyes just kind of, you know, just trying not to look. And they're so, you know, as she said, uninhibited and completely. Just, it's amazing. I mean, I think it's the same energy as when you go to theater and or the cinemas, you know, the magic of cinemas, being able to see such a huge film at this large physical scale, and then the energy of everyone laughing around you and responding. That's the same kind of energy that we were getting in those parties. They were so, it was intoxicating. So I think it was really a great experience for all of us because we really enjoyed the presence of each other and the passion that we all shared in partying.
It was 3 days and it was 10 minutes each take, and we would just, I mean, it must have been 50 a day probably over 3 days. And I do remember the last day was actually my close-ups kind of shot, and my voice was kind of gone already. I was like, this is gonna be tricky. And 2 months, for 2 months I did not have a voice. That's a fact. But for this movie though, if I didn't have a voice for 2 years, I'm like, I'm gonna do this movie, I don't care.
And can I
It's
just
so worth it.
add, he, knowing the coverage wasn't on him, gave that level performance, I'm not kidding, every single time.
Wow.
When it was a wide shot, when it was on someone with red, every time, everything. It was insane. I think actually said at one point, I was like, Peter, we're not on your coverage yet.
I
And
know.
like, save it. And he was kind of like, no.
Like I truly believe that. Like these are these moments you get to do once in your life, and we'll never come back this time. We'll never have this cast. We'll never have this director. And this is remote. You guys understand? We're all live, and we're here to make this magic. And I just so believe in Damien. And we had a great captain, Margot. And captain's know to share the ball because that's how you all win the game. And I was like, this is a special time. I also have a lot of kids. And it was COVID, so I was very pissed. I had a lot to get out. But that was the time. But no, it was an honor, and God, I would do it again tomorrow. It was a magical experience, truly.
Can I also add that PJ and I did Wolf of Wall Street together 10 years ago, and we have a picture of us on my wedding day, on set wedding day.
Yes.
Like literally 10 years prior, and then we were like, and here we are again, doing another insane.
Yes. Yeah. We just like movies with cocaine. That's
Exactly.
It's like
Exactly
make
what
it
the
snow.
nominator is.
I want to say also in
Gets
that,
up into the heat of the moment, that Nellie Leroy rage, and starts screaming, and then just turns, and I swear, just with her fist, just punched a hole right in the, was it into the window? Yes, I'm amazed you didn't cut yourself, but, so Margo was fine, the set wasn't, but, you know, and then she just kept on going. I mean, that was like, you know, take maybe 30 of the 50 takes. Like, it was amazing is that just these guys would keep on going and going, and it was sort of, so the fireworks you get on screen, I was feeling those on set every day.
if ever there's something actors,
DVDs, Uncle Buck. No, Damien didn't. He didn't send me anything.
Keep it tight five. Keep it tight five.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was a surreal experience to be up here and also to be in this movie, and yeah, it's insane.
and what about that kind of character that you got to play? That how do you approach that? Was it all on the page, or are you allowed to improvise, or you know, how did it working here with Damien?
I think that element is present probably throughout the film, that space for improvisation and trying to get what's on the page, but also I think that's why the film feels so big, because I don't think Damien was just trying to get what was on the page. I think he wanted to fill every crack with whatever was really happening in the moment to fill it with whatever you had. So yeah, I don't think it was so much improv. I think it was sort of give and take, both things. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't know exactly kind of what I was trying to do in this film or who I was trying to be. I know that I was a drug dealer. I know I wore a cape the whole time. I didn't sit down and do some extensive research. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I was trying to not get fired every day. Some people that show up are trying to not get fired, and that was what I was trying to do. And I said, whatever Damien says to do is what I'm going to do. But yeah, it's surreal. It's awesome to be in a movie that is this big. It's a very cool experience.
It would have been so fun. I just like the idea of, I don't know, it's not that it's just a different medium, and I think I just love the physicality of this, what they're doing in silent films and how they emote and animate on just a totally, you know, we're so used to a close-up now. It's back then a close-up was so rare. Everything was wide. Now a wide is so rare. Now it's like, ooh, we get to do the establisher. We're spending bucks now. Like, it's like, we're only going to get to do it 3 times, and we lose that road closure and back to the close-up. So it was just the inverse, I suppose, but I really loved it. But yeah, it was super dangerous back then. I think a lot of actors, I mean, Wally Reed had a really bad accident, and that started his whole drug. Yeah, anyways, not to bring it back to drugs, I swear, that's not what we talked about, but, yes, I would have loved it. What about you guys?
Yeah. Are you happy now, acting in this world we live in here now, as opposed to what Damien created here?
I don't know that anyone's expecting me to answer, but sure, I'll go. Yeah, no, I'll take it. Thank you. I don't know. It doesn't seem very glamorous, but I think the time that you live in is the only time that you know. So I think, to Margot's point, you know, someone like Nellie is like, she's living in this time, and this is glamour, and this is, or not necessarily glamour, but this is what the job is, and I think the connection is that all of us now in this industry and everyone back then in this industry, you were an artist who had a craving to do something extraordinary, and at that time, extraordinary was different than what extraordinary is now. The level of people you were competing with to get a job then is different than now, and I think that's what's so strange, a strange connection that I feel when I've seen this movie to Nellie, is that you are showing up to every job, even in her situation, going, I have to just fucking kick down doors to make not only this job happen, but my dream, this thing that's buried in my mind, this goal that I have, I want to make it happen. So I guess now is definitely a more accommodating way to do our jobs in a sense, but the struggle is still very much the same thing. You have to show up and wonder, why am I the person who gets to be this person?
Awesome work, awesome. Great job. Great job, Margot.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's me.
Great job,
It's
Margot.
Travis
Spalding, I emailed you. This is for you. It's my demo reel. I'd love you to watch
Oh
it.
my goodness. Thank you so much.
Good job, Margot.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's me.
Great job,
It's
Margot.
Travis Spalding, I emailed you. This is for you. It's my demo reel. I'd love you to watch
Oh
it.
my goodness. Thank you so much.
Great job,
It's
Margot.
Travis Spalding, I emailed you. This is for you. It's my demo reel. I'd love you to watch
Oh
it.
my goodness. Thank you so much.
This is for you. It's my demo reel. I'd love you to watch
Oh
it.
my goodness. Thank you so much.